All right, so you know how much we all love to learn new stuff, right?
Mm-mm.
But who has the time to wade through, like, tons of information?
Absolutely. We want the good stuff, the insights.
Exactly. That's what today is all about, like
Ah,
cutting through the noise, getting right to the heart of things.
I like it.
So we're doing a deep dive into the world of the planet's most lethal snakes,
Ooh, exciting.
based on this fascinating piece called Fangs Fear, the world's most lethal serpents.
Great title.
Our mission today is to extract like the most crucial and surprising things about venomous snakes. So you can walk away, really understanding these fascinating but sometimes, yeah, terrifying creatures.
Yeah, I think it's one of those areas, where biology and fear, even wonder, kind of all come together. I mean, snakes have been a part of
Hmm.
human storytelling and myths and even early medicine and survival for millennia, right?
Yeah.
So I think what's really interesting is to get into like the science behind, what makes them so powerful.
Right, right. And so that all starts with, the venom.
Yep.
And what I find so fascinating is that it's not just, some generic poison. It's like this super refined, evolved cocktail of
Leaky
chemicals
targeted, right?
with a very specific purpose, right? Like
Hmm.
to disable prey quickly and then start that process of digestion.
Yeah, it's like biological weaponry that's been honed over, thousands and thousands of years.
Right.
What's amazing is that there's so much diversity in the way these venoms actually work.
Okay.
And the source material, Fangs Fear, really breaks it down nicely for us. It gives us these three main categories of venom, which I think is a really cool framework for understanding, the different dangers they pose.
Okay, yeah. Break it down for us.
So first up, we've got neurotoxic venom.
Okay.
So as the name implies, this one targets the nervous system.
Right.
Essentially, it disrupts the signals that control things like movement, other vital functions,
Oh, wow.
leads to paralysis.
So like a total communication breakdown in the body.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Then you've got hemotoxic venom.
Okay. That one sounds just brutal.
Yeah, this one focuses on the blood and tissues.
Okay.
So it damages blood cells, disrupts clotting, and can cause widespread internal bleeding.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one.
And lastly, we have cytotoxic venom.
Okay, so that one's more like localized destruction, right?
Exactly. This one causes really severe tissue damage right at the bite site,
Right.
sometimes leading to necrosis.
So pretty grim stuff.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Wow.
And what I think is really fascinating and kind of unsettling is that some snakes actually have a combination of these venom types.
Oh, wow.
So a single bite can basically unleash like a multi-pronged attack.
Yep.
You've got the nervous system, blood, and tissues all under assault.
So, thinking about the evolutionary pressures that led to this, that is so interesting.
Yeah, it's like what kind of arms race led to this?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we've talked about the science behind it. Let's talk about like the actual snakes, the ones that stand out.
Let's get to the stars of the show.
Yeah, Fangs Fear highlights, like a top 5.
Top 5, yeah.
And some of the details are truly mind-blowing. So let's start with the inland taipan.
Okay, the inland taipan, this is like the one often considered the most venomous land snake on the planet.
Right.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
This source material, Fangs Fear, highlights something remarkable. A single bite is said to contain enough venom to potentially kill over 100 adult humans.
Over 100 people. From one bite. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's almost hard to grasp.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
Despite having this crazy venomous potential, the inland taipan it's like a shy creature, right?
Yeah.
It rarely encounters people.
Right.
So it's like this paradox.
Yeah, it is. I mean, incredibly deadly, but they tend to keep to themselves. And that's why, despite their arsenal, they don't actually cause that many human fatalities.
Oh, interesting.
Scientists think that this extreme potency may have evolved because of their prey.
Okay.
Fast-moving rodents in the harsh Australian outback.
Makes sense.
Needing to bring them down quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to another iconic snake. The king cobra.
The king cobra.
I always picture them, in that classic pose with their hood flared.
Yeah,
So dramatic.
it's impressive.
But according to Fangs Fear, it's not just for show.
No.
This is the longest venomous snake on the planet.
On the planet, reaching lengths of up to 18 feet.
18 feet.
That's huge.
That's longer than my car.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And unlike a lot of other cobra species that might feed on, rodents or frogs, the king cobra has got a much more specialized diet.
Okay, what's that?
It primarily eats other snakes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, snake eater.
So it's a predator of its own kind. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And the example of that kind of, niche evolution. And of course, the venom, we can't forget about the venom. It's neurotoxic and incredibly potent.
Yeah, how potent are we talking?
Well, Fangs Fear says that a single bite can deliver enough neurotoxin to kill an elephant.
An elephant.
An elephant.
Wow.
So that kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
But again, much like the inland taipan, they generally prefer to avoid human conflict.
Right.
I think that's a theme here, right? Even the most venomous snakes aren't actually looking to pick a fight with us.
Yeah, I'm seeing that theme as well. Okay, well, let's leave Asia for a moment and head over to Africa
Go.
and talk about a snake with a very different reputation, I think.
Let's do it.
The black mamba.
Oh, yeah, the black mamba. Just the name sends chills down your spine, right?
Yeah. I mean, that name, it just evokes danger.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the venom, right?
No, it's not just about the venom. The source material points out that it's one of the fastest snakes in the world.
How fast are we talking?
Speeds up to 12 miles per hour.
That's fast.
That's really fast, especially for something without legs.
Yeah, much faster than I can run.
Yeah, most of us, probably.
Yeah.
And when you combine that speed with its neurotoxic venom, you've got a pretty formidable opponent.
Yeah, I'd say so.
The venom can shut down the nervous system really quickly, in a matter of hours. And Fangs Fear really drives home the point that without anti-venom treatment, a black mamba bite is almost always fatal.
So that really underscores the importance of getting help quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Time is of the essence in that situation.
Yeah. So it's not just about the venom, it's about the speed, how quickly they can get to you.
The whole package.
It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's move on to South Asia and the Russell's viper. This one sounds especially concerning from a human perspective.
Yeah, the Russell's viper. It may not have the most toxic venom in a lab setting, but in the real world, it's a major killer. Fangs Fear says it's responsible for thousands of deaths each year.
Thousands of deaths. Wow, that's a huge contrast to like the taipan that we talked about that rarely even encounters humans.
Yeah, it really highlights that there's more to the story than just venom potency, right?
So what makes the Russell's viper so dangerous then to humans?
Well, for one, the venom itself, it's hemotoxic, leads to these awful effects like really bad bleeding, kidney failure, and excruciating pain. But the real issue, according to Fangs Fear, is where they live. They tend to live near human settlements, especially in agricultural areas.
So more chances of interaction.
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, that increases the frequency of encounters and bites. It's not just about the venom strength, it's about the opportunity for interaction.
Right, that's such an important point. So lethality is kind of a complex idea. It's not just like the strength of the venom, it's about the context.
Yeah, the ecology, the behavior, where they live, it all factors in.
Absolutely. Okay, finally, we have the saw-scaled viper.
The saw-scaled viper, yeah.
Now, this one is described as being relatively small, but responsible for a surprisingly large number of deaths.
This is another one that really punches above its weight class. It might not have the size of a black mamba or the sheer venom yield of a taipan, but Fangs Fear points out that it's responsible for more human deaths globally than any other snake species.
Are you serious? This tiny little snake is the deadliest.
It is. And it's a sobering reminder that size isn't everything in the world of venomous snakes.
Yeah, you said it. So what makes this little snake so deadly to humans?
Well, a few things probably contribute. The source material mentions the potency of its venom, especially for its size. That's definitely a factor.
Yeah.
But it also talks about their temperament. They've got this nervous disposition and tend to strike readily without much warning.
Oh, so not only is the venom bad, they're also quick to use it.
Exactly. And then if you add in the fact that they're found across really densely populated regions of Africa, the Middle East, and India, you've got a recipe for frequent and often fatal encounters.
Yeah, so it's like this perfect storm of a potent venom, a quick temper, and then just being in places where people are.
Yeah, it's tragic, really.
It really makes you rethink what makes a snake lethal in the real world.
Yeah, it's a complex equation.
Okay, so we've talked about how dangerous these snakes can be, but what happens if, God forbid, someone gets bitten?
Yeah, that's the crucial question, right?
So what does Fangs Fear say about snakebite survival?
Well, it gives some really clear advice on what to do and what not to do.
All right, let's hear it.
So on the do side, the first and most important thing is to stay calm.
Okay.
And still.
So like, don't panic and run around.
Exactly. because any movement can actually accelerate the spread of venom in the bloodstream.
Right, so you don't want to get your heart rate up and pump that venom around.
Exactly. So stay calm, stay still.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Okay, what else should you do?
Immobilize the bitten limb.
Okay.
Try to keep it at or slightly below the level of the heart.
So is that also to slow down circulation?
Yeah, it helps slow down the venom circulation.
Okay.
But most importantly, seek immediate medical attention.
Get to a hospital ASAP.
Yeah, time is absolutely critical in these situations.
All right, so the do's: stay calm, keep the limbs still and low, and get to a doctor fast. Now, what about the don'ts? Like, what are things people might think they should do, but actually shouldn't?
Yeah, there's some common misconceptions out there.
Yeah, Fangs Fear specifically says, don't try to suck the venom out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as tempting as it might seem, we've seen it in movies, it's generally ineffective,
Okay.
and it can even introduce bacteria into the wound.
Oh, so it could make things worse.
Exactly, complications.
Okay.
Also, don't cut the wound or try to apply a tourniquet.
Why not?
Cutting can cause more tissue damage and bleeding.
Right.
And tourniquets, unless they're applied by trained medical professionals, can restrict blood flow too much.
Oh, right. You could do some serious damage.
Yeah, potentially even leading to limb damage.
Wow.
And lastly, no alcohol or caffeinated drinks.
Oh, interesting.
They can affect circulation and potentially worsen the effects of the venom.
So basically just stay calm
Yeah.
and get professional help.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. And thankfully, Fangs Fear reminds us that modern antivenoms have made a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. Thank goodness for antivenom.
Right, they've dramatically improved survival rates for snake bites.
But the sooner
Well,
you can get it, the better.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Fangs Fear really emphasizes that point.
Yeah.
The sooner it's administered under medical supervision, the better the chances of a full recovery.
Okay, so that's all super important information, really practical for anybody, no matter where they live. Now, I want to switch gears a bit because snakes hold such a powerful and often symbolic place in human culture.
Yeah, they're really potent symbols.
So Fangs Fear touches on some of these myths and legends, which I think is really fascinating.
Yeah, across cultures throughout history, they've inspired both, reverence and fear.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So in Hinduism, for example, the cobra is a sacred creature,
Right.
often associated with powerful deities like Shiva.
Yeah, you always see them in like the art and everything.
Yeah, very prominent.
So what other roles do snakes play in mythology?
In Greek mythology, you've got the iconic Medusa,
Right.
whose hair was turned into these terrifying venomous snakes.
Oh, yeah. Anybody who looked at her would turn to stone.
Exactly. And then you've got these more regional legends.
Yeah.
Like in the Amazon, there's this tale of the Yakuma.
The what?
Yakuma. It's this giant anaconda spirit.
Oh, wow.
It's believed to be like the mother of the waters, both feared and respected.
So interesting how these creatures, both real and imagined, have become part of our stories and beliefs.
Yeah, it speaks to their power.
But, Fangs Fear reminds us that despite these scary portrayals, most snakes actually avoid humans.
Yeah, they'd rather not interact with us.
They just want to be left alone.
Exactly. I think what we often see as aggression is usually a defensive response.
Right. They're just scared.
They feel threatened, they're cornered, their primary instinct is to escape.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Which leads to the final point that Fangs Fear makes: the importance of snakes in our ecosystems and the need for conservation.
Yeah, this is crucial. It's easy to just see them as a threat, but there's this whole ecological context to consider.
So what's their role in the ecosystem?
Well, they play a vital role, actually. Fangs Fear highlights their importance in regulating populations of rodents and other small animals.
So they're like natural pest control.
Exactly. And it's not just about keeping pest numbers down. They also help prevent the spread of diseases.
Oh, wow.
Diseases that these animals can carry, which can be a big problem for humans.
So they're helping keep us healthy indirectly.
In a way, yes. They're maintaining a healthy balance.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. It's a reminder that everything's connected.
Right.
But unfortunately, as Fangs Fear points out, many snake species are facing growing threats.
Like what?
Mostly habitat destruction.
Oh, yeah.
Human development encroaching on their environments. And then there's direct persecution, people just killing them out of fear.
Oh, sad.
It is. You hear about conservation efforts for other animals, but snakes often get overlooked.
Because people are scared of them.
Yeah, that fear and misunderstanding is a real problem. That's why I think it's so important that Fangs Fear mentions that there are these worldwide conservation efforts for snakes.
Yeah.
these often misunderstood creatures. They need our help.
Absolutely. So, from the incredible potency of their venom to their surprising shyness and their essential ecological functions, this deep dive into the world of lethal snakes based on Fangs and Fear has been really eye-opening.
Yeah, it really shows you how complex the natural world is.
Yeah, it really does. And, after all this talk about the dangers of venom, this potent biological weapon, it makes you think what medical discoveries might be out there, hidden within the very toxins we fear. I mean, if something so deadly exists in nature, could it also hold the key to new cures, new treatments?
That's a great question. There's so much potential for research in that area.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. Nature's full of surprises.
It really is.